Is this thing on? It is. All right, welcome back to the Bandwagon Sports Show. I'm your host, DaRock, and we are here with our Week 12 NFL picks. Crazy that after this week, we're going to be 2/3 of the way through the NFL season. So last week, we went 9-5, another solid week. Sorry that I did not get around to making a video. It was a busy week for me, but another week of good picks. Like I said, you can always check out my picks at Blitz Sports Media. We have an article with all our creators that gives out their picks every week. So 9-5 last week. Hopefully we can keep those winning ways going this week. And before we get into it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your picks down below, and let's get into it. So week 12 here, like I mentioned in the intro, it's getting late early here. We're going to be 2/3 of the way through the season through this week. So it's becoming more and more apparent every week who is good, who is not, which made it a little bit difficult for me this week to find, some underdog picks that I like. You guys know I try to include a couple of those each week for those of you who watch my videos, and it might take a little bit to get there. There's also 6 teams on bye this week, second to last week of byes. No byes next week for Thanksgiving, just since there's the 3 games Thursday. Try to get that video out earlier than usual since there's a Thursday morning game as opposed to Thursday night. And then 6 more byes the week after Thanksgiving, which is a lot of fantasy, either round 1 of the playoffs or final week of the regular season. So best of luck to you if you have big games and guys on byes. Most likely you will, because there's 6 teams on byes. So first game we get into, my Pittsburgh Steelers. Excited for this one, divisional game on Thursday night here against the Browns. Steelers are 8-2 on the year. Browns are 2-8. Pittsburgh is a 3.5-point favorite. Total in this game set at 37. So Pittsburgh, they finally played their first divisional game last week against Baltimore. They got the victory, 18-14. Or I'm sorry, no, 18-16. I didn't have that score pulled up right in front of me. I thought I had memorized. I'm not him like that. I'm not him. So finally, it took till week 11 for them to play a divisional game, but now the divisional gauntlet starts. So second time this year the Steelers won a game without scoring a touchdown. That is just how stinking good this Pittsburgh defense is. And the Cleveland offense is not that good. The Cleveland defense really is not that good. They got torched by New Orleans last week. I mean, there's a reason one team is 8-2, the other team is 2-8. One team finds a way to win, the other team finds ways to lose games. So I'm going with Pittsburgh this one. Thursday night, usually sloppier game. I mean, we saw it last week. Philly-Washington wasn't a great game just because, the 2 teams, good game, but not the best offensively. So I could see this being a little bit closer of a game than maybe if it was on a full week of rest. You can see it from that full point spread. I do think Pittsburgh covers, though, so give me Pittsburgh 20-14. Next, we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs, 9-1. They suffered their first loss in the year to Buffalo last week. They take on the Carolina Panthers, who are 3-7. We're on bye last week after winning in overtime in Germany against the Giants the week before. Kansas City is a 10.5-point favorite in this one with the total set at 43. So I really wanted to pick Carolina in that Germany game. I mentioned my recap of that week. I didn't really watch a bunch of it, but the Panthers have been playing better as of late. I want to give them credit for that. But the Kansas City Chiefs roll into town. The 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, a team that is fresh off their first loss of the year. Think they're going to mean business. They're going to mean vengeance. Patrick Mahomes hasn't played his best this year, but I think he has a big game on Sunday. Not much to say about this one. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. I'm going by a final score of 31-14. I think they cover that double-digit spread pretty easily. Next, we go to the 8-2 Minnesota Vikings heading to Chicago to take on the 4-6 Bears. Minnesota is a 3.5-point favorite in this one with total set at 39. So Chicago, they have lost 4 straight games now, I believe. Yes, 4 straight games after starting with that Washington Hail Mary. Team is falling apart. They're cursed. It looks like they're finally get their win last week against Green Bay. Green Bay has won 10 straight games against the Bears. They own the Bears. I'm so sorry. Again, I'm wearing my Blackhawks hat. You guys can see. Chicago guy. Not a Bears fan, but Chicago guy. It pains me to see my friends going through this pain. But I think it continues. This divisional gauntlet starts. second week in a row for them. Like I said, similar to the Steelers, where last week was the Bears' first divisional game. Last week was the Steelers and Bears. Both had their first divisional game. Now the gauntlet starts. Once again, divisional game this week against Minnesota. Then they head short week to Lions on Thanksgiving. It's going to be rough. It is not going to be a fun week for Bears fans. I think Minnesota wins. I do see it being close, but I do think they cover that spread. I think they cover that 3.5-point spread. I'm going to go Vikings win this one 21-17, just because they haven't looked as dominant as of late. They're 8-2, but I don't think they're world beaters. I don't think they're favorites in the NFC by any means, but I think they pick up a win against just clicked on the wrong thing. Pick up a win against a team that they are better than. Then we have another divisional game. The 2-8 Tennessee Titans head to Houston to take on the 7-4 Houston Texans. Houston's an 8-point favorite in this game with the over-under set at 40.5. So Tennessee, honestly, they gave the Vikings a game for a little bit last week. Like, they didn't just get completely blown out, completely run over. So I do want to give them credit for that. They hung in there a little bit. Have been playing slightly better of late. Texans, though, they're a good team. They dominated the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Joe Mixon ran all over the place. C.J. Stroud had a bounce-back game. I think they're going to start hitting their stride a little bit. And especially here, divisional game, first time playing the Titans this year. But, they want to put the AFC South away. Right now, they're in first place. They should win the AFC South pretty handily. And to make sure that happens, you got to win games like this. So I do think Houston, they get the W in this one. I'm going to go with a final score of 24-14. Now we head to another NFC South team, those Indianapolis Colts, like I mentioned, 5-6 on the year. They host the team that I do think is the favorite in the NFC. And honestly, right now is my pick to win the Super Bowl in Week 12, the 9-1 Detroit Lions. They're 7.5-point favorites on the road. That's how dominant they are, with the over-under set at 50.5. The Lions scored over 50 points by themselves last week, beating the Jaguars 52-6. That's not the first time they've done it. They ran up the score on the Cowboys. They didn't quite get to 50, but they're at 47. The Giants' offense is just unstoppable. That backfield of Gibbs and Montgomery, they both had touchdowns on Sunday. Amon-Ra scored a touchdown in 8 straight games. They found a way to win a game when Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. That's just how good they are. Obviously, no Aiden Hutchinson has hurt them, but still, defensively, they've been really solid. The Colts, good win for them last week. Going on the road, knocking off the Jets, 1-point win. Anthony Richardson was back. And honestly, I think the benching maybe was good for him. He just looked like a more mature player, just more confident, where I liked how he played. And I think it was the right move for the Colts to go back for him, because that would have just been given up on him way too quickly. But he's going to have to go tick for tat with Jared Goff in that Lions offense, and I don't really think he's capable of doing that. I just don't think the Colts have the same amount of weapons, so I'm going Detroit to win this one. I'm going by a final score of 31-21. Then we go back over to the AFC, another divisional game. The 3-8 New England Patriots head to the 4-6 Miami Dolphins. Miami is currently a 7.5-point favorite in this one, with the over-under set at 46. So Miami won the first meeting between these two teams in New England, 15-10, low-scoring game. And honestly, these teams have looked a lot better than that since then. Both offenses have been clicking, getting more going. So I do think it'll definitely be higher scoring than that one. And I think I'm going to take the over in this game. 46. It's probably going to be right around it, but that might be a little low. I think these teams could put up some points. Tua has found his way now. He's back healthy. Found Tyreek for a touchdown. He's been linking up really well with Jonnu Smith as well. I picked him up in fantasy. Might recommend that for some people who need tight ends, especially, if you're just playing in a league where touchdown scorers are big. So, this Dolphins offense has looked better. Patriots, they gave the Rams a game last week. Weren't able to come out with the win, but their offense has been playing well. They went to Chicago 2 weeks ago and played well. So Drake May, he's developing nicely. Obviously, not a win now year by any means for the Patriots. So I'm going with the Dolphins. They are still in win now mode, fighting. Maybe they can somehow squeak into the playoffs. If you're going to squeak into the playoffs, you need to win games like this. So give me the Dolphins to take it. I'm going to go by a score of 28-20. Then we bounce over to the NFC. We have the 4-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to the 2-8 New York Giants. So both these teams were on bye last week, and combined they have lost their last 9 games. 4 straight losses for the Bucs, 5 straight losses for the Giants. It has gotten so bad that Daniel Jones has gone from being the starter to now the 4th string quarterback for the Giants. Tommy DeVito. Hey, where's the mozzarella? Sorry, that might be offensive, but Tommy DeVito, the Italian stallion, he's back starting for the Giants. His agent, Sean Stellato, was inducted into the Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame last year, so he was in Chicago. And who also was inducted in that class? The owner of the minor league baseball team I work for, so cool little wrinkle there. But yeah, it's a complete free fall for the Giants. They're not a good team. I heard hypothetical, maybe they look to get Aaron Rodgers next year. However, he's looked terrible. I don't even know if you'd want him at this point. Buccaneers, they've lost, but they've been like competitive games. Like they could have won that game against Kansas City. They've gotten some tough breaks against Atlanta. They're in it against San Francisco. Just haven't been able to pull it out. I think finally against a far inferior team, they're finally pulling out. So give me Tampa Bay to take this one. I'm going to go by a final score of 21-13, covering the 6-point spread. And that would put us under the total of 41.5. I forget if I read those out before. Then we head to the two teams battling it out in the Giants division. The 3-7 Dallas Cowboys head to the 7-4 Washington Commanders. These are two teams that have also not looked great as of late, as they've combined to lose their last 7 games. Only two straight losses for Washington, but 5 straight losses for Dallas. Wheels have been completely fallen off. I mean, they weren't a good team even when Dak Prescott was playing, but now that he's out, it's just been wraps. They have not been competitive at all. They got blown out, did not look good against Houston on Monday Night Football. And honestly, give us Trey Lance, because Cooper Rush, we know we're getting Cooper Rush. Like, it's a punt season. See if you have anything with Trey Lance, or just trade him again if you're not going to play him. Because if you think he's going to be that much damaged goods going out there and like tanking his trade value, why'd you trade for him in the first place? Like, give the kid a shot. Like, let's see something that's interesting. I mean, Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito on Thanksgiving, getting a week ahead here. Please watch college basketball or like something else, or like spend time with your family. Please do not watch that game. That might be another game, just like the Germany game. I might do an NFL boycott. I might do it again. That might be a game I boycott in favor of college basketball and spending time with my family. Love you, family, if you're listening. Can't wait to spend time with you. So Commanders, Jane Daniels, not as great the last 2 weeks as he'd looked in many of the weeks prior, but he's facing that gauntlet of a Steelers defense, and then short week against Philly. I mean, Philly's the best team in that division. There's no doubt about it after that Thursday night game. It's always tough to play Thursday night on a short week. So, didn't look great, but so be it. I think they bounced back. Dallas, like I said, not good. Washington, they're a 10.5-point favorite in this one. Total's 45.5. I don't think they get to that 45.5. I honestly don't even think they cover, but I think they win. I think they look fine. I think they look good. I'm going to go Washington 24-14. Now we move on to the afternoon slate. The first one at 3:05. We got another divisional game. The Denver Broncos, 6-5 on the year, head to Vegas, take on the Raiders, who are 2-8. Denver is currently a 6-point favorite with the total set at 41. And Denver won the first 2 meetings between these two teams, 34-18. Denver's offense looks really good. Last week, they put up 38 points against Atlanta. Honestly, Denver might be my pick to be the seventh and final team in the playoffs in the AFC. So I think for sure you're looking at Chiefs, Ravens and Steelers in the north, Bills in the east, and Texans. So that's 5. So there's 2 more slots. And those slots are between, if you still somehow believe in the Bengals, I'd say the Bengals are probably on paper the best team. The Chargers are up there. The Colts, Colts are still in it. Maybe you could even throw the Dolphins after last week. Jets are dead. Don't get me started on the Jets. But then the Broncos. And honestly, out of record-wise, they're better than Cincinnati. And Cincinnati might honestly be the only team that I think I would not take over, but like I said, on paper, I'm taking Cincinnati over Denver, but Cincinnati keeps, failing on the field. So I think I'm going Denver. I think Denver and the Chargers, like the West, honestly might get 3 teams in because they're beating up on the Raiders. Raiders, very bad. So I think Bo Nix and the Broncos offense keeps rolling the way they have been. I think this could be a close game a little bit. The spread's saying so, but I think Denver still covers it. I'm going to go they win by a final score of 28-21. Now flipping over to the NFC. This was a game I was very split on. The 5-5 San Francisco 49ers take on the 7-3 Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is a 2-point favorite in this one with the total set at 47.5. So as of late, San Francisco has kind of dominated the Packers in the playoffs. They've won 4 straight meetings in the playoffs, and since 2010, overall, they've won 8 of the 13 meetings between the two teams. Like I said, 4 of those being those playoff games. The 49ers, as you can see, 5-5 on the year. They lost a game last week against Seattle that they should have won, and they just kind of keep doing this, especially in division. Like, games that down the stretch they should win, they just don't close the deal. They don't close the deal. Like, they're bordering on the Cincinnati territory for me where they're good. I think they're good, but I'm tired of picking them because they're letting me down. I keep having faith, and they let me down. Green Bay, on the other hand, they won a game they should not have won last week. They pulled out their Bears voodoo magic. I guess Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't play there anymore, but he lent it down to Jordan Love. The Packers still own Chicago. I'm sorry. I'm putting salt in the wound, Bears fans. My apologies. Bears fans, your Super Bowl is when San Francisco beats the Packers in the playoffs. So like I just mentioned, 4 straight wins against Packers in the playoffs. But they haven't been as good in the regular season. Lambeau, tough place to play. Packers won 5-6 overall. The only team that's beat them is Detroit, who's the best team in the NFC. So, give me the Packers in this one. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think they pull it out and go by a final score of 24-21. Then the final afternoon game, those two NFC West teams that have both pulled off wins against the 49ers this year. 6-4 Arizona Cardinals head to the 5-5 Seattle Seahawks. Arizona is currently a 1-point favorite. Seattle opened up as the favorite, but it's now shifted over to Arizona. And then the total set at 47.5. So Cardinals, like I mentioned, they won a game. The Seahawks, Geno Smith led a good drive at the end, wins in San Francisco last week. Cardinals were on bye. But the week before, they got a win. Kyler Murray's been playing really well. I've been impressed with him. He's kind of had a resurgence for this Arizona Cardinals team here. It's just tough, man. It's tough. This is a tough game. This was one I was split on as well, where I didn't know where to go. But for me, something that kind of stuck out to me. Seattle is 2-4 at home this year. Like, they've been a better team on the road than they have been at home. Where Arizona's like 500 at home, 500 on the road, so slightly better at home. But, they've been rolling. They killed the Jets. They killed the Bears. Got a win on the road against the Dolphins. 3 straight wins, or four straight wins, because then you go back to that Chargers game. They beat the Chargers, who I think are a good team. So 4 straight wins heading into their bye. Can they keep that good times rolling, keep the energy rolling? I think they do. Because like I mentioned, Seattle, like the 12th man, I don't know if it just doesn't exist anymore or it just doesn't have the same effect. So I think Arizona, they go into Seattle. I have them knocking off the Seahawks by a final score of 28-24. Now we head to the final 2 games of the week, the 2 primetime games. First, Sunday Night Football. We have the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles heading to the 5-5 LA Rams. Philly's currently a 2.5-point favorite in this one with the total set at 49. So Rams, they got a win on the road against the Patriots last week. I'm going to be honest, wasn't a game I watched a bunch of. I was pretty locked in on Steelers-Ravens and Bears-Packers at that time. But, they take care of business, win a game they should. The Eagles, like I mentioned earlier, good win on Thursday Night Football, really asserting their dominance as that top team in the division. They've been on a roll as of late, the Eagles. They're 8-2 on the year, so they're very much in the hunt for that 1 seed in the NFC. They've won now, 6 straight games. They're playing pretty well after their 2-2 start. But maybe you've noticed a trend in this video so far. I've not picked a single underdog yet. And I am a guy I do pick a lot of favorites, and some weeks in the NFL all the favorites win. Some weeks there's a lot of upsets. It just kind of depends. It's a week to week, any given Sunday. Any given Sunday, I think the Rams knock off the Eagles. At a home game, if the Rams are going to make this push for the playoffs, they got to win games like this. Philly, like I mentioned, they've won 6 straight games, but outside of Washington, they've beaten Cleveland, New York, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and Dallas. I do not think those 5 teams are good. So are the Eagles good, or are they just beating bad teams? You can't control who you play. But, this is now maybe a bit of a test where we'll see, Matthew Stafford, can he have a prime Stafford game, throw the ball around the yard. Kyren Williams has been having a good year. Not a great game for him on Sunday, but, maybe he has a big game. These two teams both have very good rushing attacks. Saquon and then Jalen Hurts stealing all the touchdowns. Those two. It's gonna be a ground and pound game, and I got the Rams. Pulling it out. So give me the Rams by a final score of 27-24. And then the final one on Monday night, we have the Harbowl. The 7-4 Baltimore Ravens head to SoFi Stadium to take on the 7-3 LA Chargers. SoFi Stadium hosting both the Sunday and Monday night games. The Ravens are currently 2.5-point favorites in this one, with the total set at 51.5. So in the Harbowl, John has gotten the best of Jim both times. I don't know why I always get them messed up. But yeah, Jim has gotten the best of John, including the Super Bowl when they faced off. Super Bowl 47 between the Ravens and the 49ers. I think that trend continues. Baltimore, tough loss last week. That was a game that they're playing a ferocious Pittsburgh defense that forces some turnovers that if they don't, Baltimore wins that game. And Baltimore's even plays well. They didn't let the Steelers score a touchdown. So, that's pretty impressive. Chargers, they were looking really good. They were looking really hot in the first half. But then, they let Cincinnati back in the game. They did end up winning, but against a team like Cincinnati, you can do that. Against a team like Baltimore, you cannot leave them in the game. Can't let them hang around. And, that's how they lost against the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. So I think the Chargers take another L on Monday Night Football. Give me the Ravens take this one. Jim keeps dominating John in the Harbowl. And, they're gonna have some beef on Thursday at the dinner table when Jim just gets to keep flexing his W. So give me the Ravens take this one 30-27. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I mentioned in the beginning, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your picks. I'm trying to keep growing the channel here. My apologies once again for no video last week. Just kind of need to take a week off. A lot going on. But this week, I promise you, we are going to have a video every day outside of Thanksgiving, but every other day from Thursday here, through all 5 days next week. I'm going to be coming out with a video. I'm off of work, so I'm going to have some more time. College basketball is heating up. College football rivalry week. I've been doing a lot of stuff. College football still over at Blitz Sports Media, like I mentioned in the beginning as well. So please make sure to check that site out. Big things coming over there. I'm really excited for that. Really glad that I got to be affiliated with that. If you're listening to me on Twitch, make sure to like the show, rate it 5 stars, subscribe, download the podcast. I applied to potentially have a company pick me up, and we're not close to what I needed to have that happen. But you know what? If we can keep growing the show the way it has, if I can keep being consistent, if you guys keep supporting me like you have, I really appreciate all the support I have gotten. I think we could eventually get there. So whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, wherever, just make sure to leave your support, leave likes, comment, let me know what you like. I really appreciate everyone for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.